this message is not for everyone. If you stumbled upon this video by accident, pause for a moment, because only those who are truly walking the divine path of God are meant to hear this. Only the chosen ones will feel this message resonate deep within their spirit. If you're not one of them, you might not understand. But if you are, you already know this message has found you at the perfect time. God himself led you here because your spirit has been crying for confirmation, for peace, for release. Today, heaven is answering you, and what you're about to hear will shift the way you walk, think, and rest. Chosen one, you've been carrying heavy burdens, fighting unseen battles, and trying to hold everything together. But God is saying you can rest now. I will do the rest. Stay with me till the end of this message, because the revelation waiting for you here will not just comfort your soul, it will strengthen your faith for what's coming next. Before we begin, if your spirit recognizes this message as truth, type 999 in the comments to claim divine alignment. It's a prophetic act that tells heaven you are ready to receive. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to our channel, tap the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones, because this word will awaken their spirit just as it's awakening yours right now. The weight you've been carrying. Chosen one, God sees how tired you are. You've been walking through seasons that felt endless, battles that drained you spiritually, emotionally, even physically. You've carried responsibilities that weren't yours alone, prayed for people who never prayed for you, and stood strong when everyone else gave up. You've been faithful, even when faith felt heavy. You've smiled through pain, kept giving when you had nothing left, and still whispered, God, I trust you through your tears. But hear this. Your exhaustion is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of transition. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. When the weight feels unbearable, that's when heaven is closest to you. God is not ignoring your cries. He has seen every sleepless night, every tear that soaked your pillow, every silent plea that no one else heard. He has watched you keep walking, even when your legs trembled under the pressure. The reason the warfare intensified is because you were approaching a divine threshold. The enemy knows what you're about to step into, so he fought harder to make you stop. But you didn't stop. You kept pressing forward, and that persistence broke something in the spiritual realm. You see, the chosen are not ordinary souls. You were handpicked by God to carry light into places filled with darkness. That's why your journey has been different, why others seem to have it easier, and why you've had to learn strength the hard way. You were being refined, not destroyed in the fire. The pain you endured was a divine process, shaping your spirit to handle the blessing that's coming. Every disappointment was redirection. Every loss was protection. Every delay was God's preparation. You may have thought you were standing still, but in truth, heaven was building your foundation. You weren't being left behind. You were being set apart. Many of you have been praying for breakthrough, asking, God, when will it be my time? And the Spirit of God is whispering right now, your time has come. The waiting was not wasted. God was aligning everything, the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. So when he moves, it won't take months or years. It will happen suddenly, effortlessly, divinely. The season of striving is ending. You don't have to keep forcing things to work. You don't have to carry every battle alone. God is saying, be still. I am now taking over. You have proven your faith. You've been tested, and now you're being trusted. What you built through tears, God will now breathe on with favor. What you planted in faith, God will cause to grow in his perfect time. Chosen one, it's time to release the weight. The same God who carried you through the fire will carry you into peace. The exhaustion you feel is heaven's signal that the chapter of fighting in your own strength is closing. You are stepping into divine rest, a place where God works while you worship, where miracles manifest while you remain still, and where everything you prayed for begins to unfold without your struggle. So take a deep breath right now. Feel that? That's the presence of God reminding you, you are not forgotten. You are not alone. Every battle had a purpose. Every storm trained you for this moment. The weight you've been carrying is about to be lifted, not by your effort, but by his power. Rest now, chosen one. The victory is already written. The fight is finished in heaven's book. You've done your part. Now let God do his. The meaning of divine rest. Chosen one, now that you've endured the storm, it's time to understand what God truly means by rest. See, the world teaches that rest is just sitting still, doing nothing or escaping from problems. But divine rest, the kind that comes from heaven, is much deeper. It's not the rest of the body, it's the rest of the soul. It's the peace that says, Even if I don't see how, I know God is working it out. Divine rest is not a sign of giving up. It's a declaration of trust. When you rest in God, you're not quitting. You're saying, Father, I believe you enough to stop trying to control everything. You've done your part, and now it's his turn. You're allowing him to move freely in your life without your worry getting in the way. Think about it. Even God himself rested on the seventh day. He didn't rest because he was tired. He rested because his work was complete. That's divine rest. The awareness that nothing more needs to be added because God has already finished what he started, and he's about to finish what he began in you. When you enter divine rest, you shift your energy from striving to trusting. You stop wrestling with how and start focusing on who, the one who promised to fulfill it. You begin to understand that everything that was delayed, denied, or detoured is aligning according to heaven's perfect calendar. Nothing is out of place. Many of you have been restless in your spirit, constantly trying to make things happen. The job, the ministry, the relationship, the breakthrough. But divine rest says you've planted the seed. Now let God bring the rain. It's no longer your job to push doors open. Your only assignment now is to remain faithful, to stay in position, and to trust his timing. You see, rest is not weakness. It's warfare. The enemy wants you anxious, worried, exhausted, and doubting God's timing. But when you rest, you're declaring victory before it manifests. You're saying, devil, I'm not afraid. My God has already handled it. That peace is powerful. It's your shield. When you enter divine rest, everything around you begins to shift. The energy in your spirit changes. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you command, because divine rest positions you in alignment with your destiny. It opens the door for heaven to move naturally in your life. Some of you are still holding on to control because you fear losing what you've built. But understand this, what's truly from God cannot be lost. What is yours by divine right will always return to you, no matter how long it takes. When you rest, you give God permission to rearrange your circumstances in ways you could never imagine. Divine rest also requires faith in silence. There will be moments when heaven is quiet, when prayers seem unanswered, when nothing seems to move. That's when you must remember, silence is not absence. God often works in the stillness, behind the scenes, shaping outcomes while you simply stay in faith. Rest doesn't mean you stop believing. It means you believe so deeply that you don't need constant signs to confirm it. You've matured spiritually to the point where your peace is your evidence. You no longer panic when things seem slow because your spirit knows it's already done. Right now, God is inviting you into this kind of rest. You've earned it through your obedience, your endurance, and your faith. He's saying, let me take it from here. Take this as your confirmation. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You don't have to carry it all anymore. Divine rest is not inactivity. It's spiritual alignment. When you rest, heaven starts moving faster on your behalf. Chosen one, comment 999 below if your spirit knows this message is for you, because 9 represents the closing of one cycle and the birth of a new one. The cycle of struggle is ending. The era of divine rest has begun. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe in peace. Feel the weight lift. That's not your imagination. That's the Holy Spirit easing your burdens. You've entered the stage where your prayers are turning into manifestation. The moment you stop fighting for control is the moment God starts performing miracles. Divine rest means stepping back and letting faith lead the way. It means waking up each morning and saying, God, I may not see the full picture, but I trust your hand in every detail. It means allowing his timing to unfold without forcing what's not meant to happen yet. Remember, even seasons of stillness have divine purpose. When nothing seems to move, God is strengthening your roots, deepening your wisdom, and preparing your platform. This is your rest, not a retreat, but a repositioning. So rest, chosen one. You've done enough. The storm was your preparation, the silence is your signal, and peace is your confirmation. You are exactly where you need to be, in the hands of the Almighty who never failed. The transition from human effort to divine movement. Chosen one, there comes a time in every divine journey when God says, enough. Enough striving, enough worrying, enough trying to force what was never meant to be controlled. This is the point of transition when your human effort ends and divine movement begins. And that's exactly where you are right now. You've done everything you could in your own strength, and now heaven is stepping in to take over. For so long, you've been trying to make things happen, pushing doors open, fixing people, fighting battles in your own might. But you must understand this truth. What is divine cannot be achieved through human striving. God never designed you to carry his plans by yourself. You were meant to cooperate with him, not compete with his will. When you begin to rest in divine movement, everything changes. The weight lifts, the confusion fades. You start realizing that it was never your power that kept you standing. It was his grace all along. Human effort will always reach a limit, but God's power knows no boundaries. And when he moves, everything aligns with precision. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. In its early stages, it's buried, unseen, surrounded by darkness. It might seem like nothing is happening, but in that stillness, transformation is taking place. The seed stops struggling and surrenders to the soil, and only then does it grow. That's the same with you, chosen one. You've been buried in the seasons that made no sense, but now that you've surrendered, your growth will become visible. God often allows us to reach the end of our strength so that we finally let Him show His. The transition to divine movement begins when you stop trying to figure out how and start declaring, "Lord, I trust you even when I don't understand." That's when heaven begins to shift things you could never move on your own. You see, divine movement doesn't always start with fireworks or dramatic signs. Sometimes it starts quietly, an unexpected opportunity, a sudden peace in your heart, a door that opens without your effort. These are the fingerprints of God. He's rearranging situations behind the scenes, setting up divine connections and aligning resources that your effort could never have produced. When you were striving, you were planting seeds. When you surrender, God waters them. And soon you'll see what your prayers have been creating all this time. Every delay was preparation. Every disappointment was redirection. Every rejection was divine protection. You were never being denied. You were being positioned. Some of you feel like you've lost too much. Time, people, strength, motivation. But God says, "I will restore what was lost, and I will multiply what remains." This is the essence of divine movement. What took you years to build, God can complete in moments. That's the power of divine acceleration. When He moves, He redeems time. Many of you have been praying for change, but now God is saying, stop pushing and start allowing. You've been carrying the blueprint, but He holds the master plan. The reason it didn't work before is because you were trying to make it happen outside of divine timing. But now the appointed time has come. Chosen one, you've been conditioned to believe that progress only happens when you're active, when you're hustling, planning, and constantly moving. But in the divine realm, rest is a form of movement. Stillness is a strategy. Obedience is power. When you obey the call to rest, you step out of the natural and into the supernatural. This transition from effort to divine movement also requires trust in the unknown. You won't always see where God is leading you, but you'll feel His presence guiding your steps. Sometimes He closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you from what you can't see. Sometimes He removes people not because they're evil, but because they can't go where you're going. When God takes over, things that once felt difficult suddenly become effortless. Conversations start aligning. Opportunities find you. Solutions appear before the problem even surfaces. That's not coincidence. That's divine coordination. Heaven is working in real time on your behalf. Remember this. Divine movement doesn't need your worry, only your willingness. You don't have to beg God to do what He already promised. You just have to stay aligned, stay faithful, and stay expectant. God's plan is already in motion, even if you can't see it yet. You're entering a season where things will begin to flow naturally. You won't have to chase. You won't have to compete. You won't have to convince. What's yours will find its way to you because heaven has released it. All you need to do is stay in position, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Many chosen ones struggle in this phase because it feels strange to let go of control. You've lived your whole life being strong, responsible, and self-sufficient. But God is asking you to unlearn that survival mode. He's saying, let me be your strength now. You don't have to fight for what's already been won. This is your transition into grace. Grace means divine ease. What once drained you will now come naturally. What once took effort will now unfold through favor. You'll begin to witness divine movement in your finances, your health, your relationships, your calling. The same places that once resisted you will now receive you, but you must remain sensitive to the Spirit. Don't rush what God is still aligning. Don't question what He's rearranging. If it's moving away, let it go. If it's delayed, wait patient. If it's heavy, put it down. You're being led into a new rhythm, one that operates by peace, not pressure. And hear this clearly. When you step into divine rest, it doesn't mean you stop working. It means you stop worrying. You continue doing what God instructs, but you no longer carry the burden of outcome. You trust that every action, every step is divinely guided. That's what it means to move with heaven. So, chosen one, lift your head. The days of struggling in your own strength are over. You're crossing into a realm where miracles flow naturally, where grace replaces grind, and where the power of God performs what your hands could not. You have entered the stage of divine movement, the phase where your obedience activates miracles, and your peace becomes your weapon. Say this aloud wherever you are. I surrender my effort. I align with divine movement. Feel the shift as you speak it. The old way of striving has ended, and a new season of ease has begun. God is moving now, and you're moving with Him. Signs that God is now taking over. Chosen one, when God begins to take over, the first thing you'll notice is a shift in the atmosphere around you. Things that once felt heavy start to lighten. Doors that were sealed tight begin to open quietly. You'll sense it deep within your spirit. That still, peaceful knowing that something unseen is moving on your behalf. It's not imagination, it's divine movement manifesting. One of the clearest signs that God has taken control is peace that makes no sense. Even when life still looks uncertain, there's a calm that sits in your spirit. The chaos around you doesn't disturb your inner world anymore. You've stopped reacting emotionally to what used to drain you. That's the mark of divine takeover. When peace becomes your proof, not your situation. Another sign is effortless alignment. People start showing up in your life at the right time. Opportunities find you without you chasing them. You'll begin to realize that what once took struggle now flows naturally. God is orchestrating everything behind the curtain, connecting the right hearts, opening the right doors, and closing the wrong ones, all in your favor. You may also notice divine disconnection. God will quietly remove certain people or situations from your path. Don't panic when that happens. Some separations are protection, not rejection. When you're moving into a higher spiritual realm, not everyone can breathe at that altitude. Some relationships were only meant to walk with you through certain seasons, not the entire journey. So when God shifts the circle, understand it's part of the plan. Then comes the phase of effortless provision. Where you once struggled to make ends meet, suddenly there's flow, ideas, resources, favor, and help appearing just when you need them. You'll find that God begins to send you exactly what you require, often through unexpected channels. The same prayers that felt ignored are now being answered one after another. Another subtle sign is a renewed strength in your spirit. You wake up lighter, more focused, more alive. You may not have everything you want yet, but the fire inside you returns. The fatigue that used to overwhelm you begins to fade. That's because the weight that once drained you is no longer yours to carry. Heaven has lifted it. When God takes over, synchronicities increase. Those divine coincidences that remind you He's near. You start hearing confirmations everywhere, in songs, numbers, scriptures, random conversation. It's not random, it's God's way of saying, I'm guiding this. So pay attention to those nudges because they're heaven's breadcrumbs leading you forward. And there's another sign many overlook, silence. Sometimes when God takes control, He goes quiet. Not because He's distant, but because He's working. The silence of God is sacred. It's the sound of construction in the spirit. When He stops speaking, it's because He's already spoken, and now He's building. So don't mistake stillness for abandonment. That's the moment to rest the most. You'll also notice that your desires begin to shift. What you once chased no longer excites you. Your soul craves deeper things, peace, purpose, purity. You no longer want temporary satisfaction. You long for eternal alignment. That's God reshaping your spirit to match your new season. And listen, when divine takeover happens, the enemy will try one last time to distract you. Little things may arise to test your patience, or provoke your old habits. Don't fall for it. That's the final resistance before breakthrough. Stay calm, stay still. That's how you protect your peace and signal to heaven that you trust. You may even start to lose interest in explaining yourself to people. The more God moves, the less you'll feel the need to prove. You'll understand that your journey is spiritual, not logical, and that not everyone will see what you see. That's okay. The chosen ones are often misunderstood because they live by faith, not by sight. This phase of divine takeover is delicate. You must remain still enough to recognize it. Don't force answers. Don't chase clarity. God reveals in stages. The peace, the shifts, the coincidences, the endings. They're all pieces of a divine puzzle coming together. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You've crossed the line between striving and flowing. What's meant for you is already magnetized to your spirit. You no longer need to run after it. It's coming to you. And when it arrives, it will feel right. It won't bring anxiety. It won't bring confusion. It will carry peace, stability, and confirmation. That's how you'll know it's from God. So when the signs begin to appear, don't doubt them. Trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be. God's fingerprints are all over your life right now, even in the smallest details. The shifts you're sensing are not random. They're divine. Breathe, chosen one. The fight is no longer yours. You're entering the phase where heaven is moving things faster than you can comprehend. Keep your spirit open, your mind quiet, and your heart at peace. The creator of the universe is now personally orchestrating your story. You've done enough. God will do the rest. How to step into divine rest. Chosen one, now that you understand the significance of divine rest, it's time to move from awareness to action. How do you fully step into this state of spiritual peace and trust? How do you allow God to take over and carry you to the next phase of your journey? The answer lies in aligning your mind, body, and spirit with the flow of divine grace. Let me guide you through the steps to fully embrace divine rest. Release control. The first step is the hardest, and that's to release control. For so long, you believe that everything depends on your actions, your efforts, and your strength. But in the kingdom of God, true power comes from surrender, not struggle. Let go of the illusion that you have to manage every outcome. The very fact that you are reading this means God is asking you to trust Him fully with what's ahead. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to control every moment. When you release control, you make room for divine order to flow through your life. It's an act of faith. You're telling God, I believe you are capable of handling what's too big for me. When you give up the weight of control, you will feel a lightness in your spirit. This is the first sign that you're entering the rest that God promises. Trust His timing. Trusting God's timing is essential in stepping into divine rest. You may have been waiting for breakthroughs, answers, or changes for a long time, but you must understand that God's timing is always perfect. Your impatience is not a reflection of God's delay. It's a reflection of your misunderstanding of His methods. There are seasons of waiting that may feel uncomfortable or confusing, but God is never idle during those times. He is preparing you for what's next. Trust that even in the silence, He's working things out in the back. Allow your faith to rise in those quiet moments, knowing that at the right moment, God will move in a way that will exceed your expectations. When you start trusting His timing, you will stop feeling the need to rush or push things to happen. You'll find peace in knowing that the right people, resources, and opportunities will show up exactly when you need them, not when you demand them. Patience is your partner in this phase. Trusting God's timing brings freedom from anxiety, knowing that He is never late and He's always on time. Let go of the past. Part of stepping into divine rest is releasing the past. Many of you have carried old wounds, regrets, and unforgiveness that have weighed heavily on your heart. You cannot move into the future God has for you if you are still shackled to past disappointments or mistakes. Letting go of the past means choosing to forgive, not just others, but also yourself. Forgiving doesn't mean you condone the wrongs that were done to you. It means you free yourself from the bitterness that holds you back. The more you hold on to past hurts, the less room you have for peace and growth. It's time to release those emotional burdens. When you forgive, you are allowing God's healing power to flow through you. You're opening your heart to experience the fullness of His love and restoration. Step into divine rest by choosing to forget the things that lie behind you, pressing forward to what God has for you now. His plan for your life is not dictated by your past. You are no longer defined by what happened to you, but by what God is doing in and through you. One of the most challenging aspects of stepping into divine rest is embracing stillness and silence. Our world teaches us to be busy, to be constantly moving, and to keep striving. But God's rest is often found in moments of stillness. When you allow your spirit to become quiet, you create space for God to speak clearly to you. In those moments of silence, trust that God is at work. Even if you don't hear anything immediately, He doesn't always speak through loud declaration. Sometimes He moves through gentle whispers in your heart. Stillness is not a sign of stagnation. It's the place where God refines you, replenishes your spirit, and reveals His will for the next steps. Take time each day to be still.